So some time ago I found out that we had a limited series of our old 3Timer watches stock. Kristian told me that there was one Linde Werdelin watch that he never got, and it was a very small limited edition with a brown dial. We started talking about maybe we should redo the old 3Timer brown, but with a new color and a slightly different design.
I couldn't be happier. I thought the 3Timer with the brown dial, especially with the pattern, solarized pattern, and the functions of the GMT makes it the perfect sports watch for the modern cosmopolitan. The size, the fit, the possibility to put the digital instruments on top, everything I thought was perfect in the watch. But as with many other Linde Werdelin watches, you shouldn't wait because you blink and it's gone, and that's what happened with the brown dial 3Timer. So I was very happy when Morten proposed that doing a reedition of this very watch.
When we started talking about it, Kristian and I, I wanted to take inspiration for the watch in Kristian. So saying, okay, when I think of Kristian, what comes into my mind? And the Kristian style of clothing and accessories, it's like the old leather Red Wings boots, the oilskin jackets, leather bags, and all of these earthy colors and natural look. And then we found this great brown color that we used for the dial, earthy brown, a bit vintage style color, matching Kristian's style, and we also put the color into the turning bezel of the GMT function. We gave the GMT hand a little twist by making it red at the arrow.
Morten's background as a professional designer is definitely reflected in the integrated design of the watch, and the pleasant textile strap also makes it, of course, a very perfect watch for an active lifestyle, which at least I think I'm learning a lot. Of course, the GMT hand is important. It's very easy to use on this watch. It has a turnable bezel with the 24 hours integrated here, and then added with the brown color, which I think is that perfect little detail.
Yeah. The watch is very integrated on the strap, and I was thinking I wanted to do something that you could wear, both for a suit and for sportswear. And then this style came up with the fine chocolates that gives a three-dimensional effect on the dial.
But the DNA is very obvious. I mean, of course, DNA is a word that is being abused these days, but it's actually true. In this case, it's definitely the DNA of Linde Werdelin.
I think for us, because I'm a designer myself, everything comes from the same person. All the ideas and the whole creation of the watch series we have in Linde Werdelin is by the same person and the same team. So this makes it very recognizable in the DNA.
Yeah.
Being a designer, limitations is always a great thing, because if you can do anything you want, you don't know where to start and where to end. But the challenge has really been to take this small space and see how many variations we could get. And I think the 1024 that we launched as a concept watch last year is a good example. You would never imagine that could be the same size as the 3Timer or the Bifurcator. Yeah?
True.
And that's a watch where you can really see the evolution of Linde Werdelin.
Yeah. I think everybody would start with ETA.
Yeah.
Because we know that's great. It's a great, very sturdy very loyal movement. But you have worked with you work with Sven Andersen, you work with other Swiss movement makers. So you've always also tried that out. But then again, of course, having an ETA inside, a movement that's been kept in the safe for 10 years, there's no problem in having this machine running again.
No, and you can get the spare parts and make
Absolutely.
it work. And most, basically every good watchmaker, he would be able to fix it if something goes wrong.
Are you going to service everything? You're going to make sure everything runs.
So the movement is taken out and given new oil and making sure that everything works. Yeah. But
exactly.
I mean, 10 years for a movement, it's nothing.
Nothing. No, not at all. No, not at all. So basically, that's the good thing about a mechanical watch. If you treat it well, it will outlive you.
Yeah.
And I think exactly what you're touching there, after sales service, is so important.
Yeah.
It's like having a vintage car. If you have a vintage car, you also need a very personal, intimate relationship with your mechanic. You probably send them gifts at the wife's birthday and the kids' weddings, just in order to keep a good relationship. A good watchmaker is hard to find these days, unfortunately. But the good thing with an ETA movement, you will be able to get parts for many, many years from now. And you don't have to send everything back to one place and get a very, very large bill. So that's also another very appealing, but also very important detail about this watch. So the one that got away, I think, is also a great theme in terms of the 3-timer coming back into business. But then again, we are talking a very limited stock, aren't we?
I mean, since we started Linde Werdelin, we have only produced around 5,000 watches, and we've done 73 different families. So 73 different versions.
73 different versions.
Or from, I mean, I think the smallest series was 11 pieces, and then the largest limited edition is 100. So that's what the Spider speaks.
Yeah.
So some of them are really hard to get, and I think that's a part of the luxury feeling.
As a designer of a successful watch company, do you remember when you did the GMT back in the days? What year was it introduced originally?
Well, I think it was, we got the first watches late 2006, and then 2 years later we did the 3-timer. And it's always been like a natural evolution. Then I felt we needed something a little bit more more classic or more elegant, and then I made this, and then I thought, oh shit, now we have a lot of elegant stuff, and then we wanted to do something super light, and then we started drilling out the case. So it's always like small steps but going in a certain direction. And I think as a designer, I'm obliged to, and especially a designer that making products that last for so long, I'm obliged to make products that are a part of the time that we live in. Yeah? So that when you look back in 100 years, you say, aha, so this is a watch from 2006. How interesting! Why did this happen? Why was it that color? And I think going a little bit vintage now, it's a reflection of the society we live in, because everything is so uncertain these days with the economies and what's going on in different parts of the world, with the oil, everywhere around the world there's a little bit of uncertainty. So what we want now is like, want to go back to our childhood garden, where the sun was shining, the bees were buzzing around, and mother was shouting, "Oh, come on in, Kristian, and get your coat."
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really a reflection of the time that we live in. We want to go back to when things were, stable and safe, and that's why I think it's even more interesting to do a retro Linde Werdelin watch with old stock, especially that it's old stock. It's not a new product, so it's stock that we've found and then relaunched.
Is it prototypes here?
Yeah.
So these are early stages styles of Linde Werdelin.
These are some of the early prototypes from 2007. And as I said, everything except from the strap is from the original production.
if we just go back to the dials, and of course the dial is the original 3-time. It's gonna be a little darker, lighter. How's that gonna work?
Well, the first brown we did was a quite like I wanted to do something that was like a dark espresso kind of color,
Yeah.
Almost black, and it had a shiny surface. Where thinking of you as an inspiration for the 3-timer, I wanted to have these more earth color, more matte color.
Yeah.
So we toned it down quite a bit, still the brown, but a bit lighter, and then kept it in a matte surface, matching like the leather boots and the canvas or the oilskin jacket and so on.
Yeah. No, it makes sense, but if we just reflect on that, it happens to be, I guess, what I wear with the boots and the old oilskin jackets and stuff. Is this also a reflection of where we come from? Is it Scandinavian, the earthy tones?
I think so. Spring is here now. So it's.
It looks like spring, a little rainy.
But we have this long period in Denmark where it is pretty dark, earthy colors, so it's a part of the Scandinavian look.
Yeah.